What is real? Imagine you are floating in the deep, quiet darkness of space. All around you is a vast emptiness, a silent and endless black. It is peaceful. It is still. Then, very slowly, a single tiny light appears in the distance. Meet Plato. To explore this idea, we turn to an ancient thinker. He lived in Greece more than 2,000 years ago, in a city called Athens. It was a time of great ideas, of marble statues and grand temples. Plato was a philosopher. This means he spent his life thinking about big questions. He thought about love. He thought about justice, and what it means to live a good life. He was a student of Socrates, and he went on to teach Aristotle. Plato was not just a thinker, he was also a wonderful storyteller. He wanted to explore the difference between what seems real and what is truly real. Shadows on the wall. Plato asks us to imagine a cave deep underground. Inside this dark cave there is a group of people. Their legs and necks are held in chains, so they cannot move. All they have ever been able to see is the stone wall directly in front of them. Behind these prisoners there is a fire. Between the fire and the prisoners there is a low wall, like a screen. Along this wall other people are walking back and forth. They carry statues of animals. They carry statues of trees. They carry statues of people. The firelight projects the shadows of these objects onto the wall that the prisoners are facing. When the people carrying the statues speak, the prisoners hear the echoes bouncing off the wall. They believe the shadows themselves are talking. They give the shadows names. They talk about their shapes and their movements. They might have games and contests to see who can best guess which shadow will appear next. They fully believe that this world of shadows is the only world that exists. This is the only reality they have ever known. They have no reason to doubt it. The chains that hold them are not just physical. They are also chains on their minds. They do not know what a real tree is. They do not know a real animal. They do not know the warmth of the sun. They do not know the colour of the sky. Their truth is the truth of the flickering images on the wall, a simple, two-dimensional world. They are comfortable in their certainty, unaware of a much richer reality beyond. The walk toward the light. At first, the prisoner's eyes would be in pain. The fire behind him is blindingly bright. His muscles are stiff. Every movement is difficult. He wants to go back to his familiar seat and the world of shadows. The journey is steep and difficult. He resists. The guide is patient. The cave entrance light grows brighter. The pain in his eyes intensifies. He emerges into the outside world, completely blinded by sunlight. He can see nothing. He is angry and confused. Slowly, his eyes begin to adjust. First, only shadows of things. Then, reflections in the water, clearer than the cave shadows. Over time, he sees the things themselves. Trees, flowers, animals. He sees their colours, their textures, their three-dimensional forms. He feels the sun's warmth and the breeze. Finally, he looks up. The sky, the moon and stars at night, and eventually the sun itself. He understands the sun is the source of light and life. The cave fire was a man-made copy. The shadows were faint copies. Seeing is not all. After seeing the real world, the freed prisoner would feel pity for his friends still in the cave and want to go back. He would feel a duty to return, to free them from their chains and lead them into the light, to share the beauty and truth of the world outside. When he goes back into the darkness, his eyes, now used to the sunlight, would be unable to see. He would seem clumsy and foolish, they would not believe him. When he tries to tell them about the world outside, about colour, about the sun, about real objects, his words would sound like madness. They have no frame of reference. How do you explain the colour blue to someone who has only ever seen shades of grey? How do you describe the warmth of the sun to someone who has only known the flickering heat of a fire? They might become angry, seeing him as a threat to their stable, predictable world. Plato warns people can become so attached to familiar illusions that they will violently resist anyone who tries to take them away. The journey from ignorance to knowledge is not just about seeing the light. It is about the courage to accept it, and the difficulty of helping others see it too. Plato's story was told thousands of years ago, but it asks a question that feels very modern. What if we are, in some way, still in a cave? This is not to say that our world is fake. The chair you are sitting on is real. The ground beneath your feet is solid. But what if our perception of reality is limited? What if we are only seeing a part of the whole picture? Our senses are amazing tools, but they can only perceive a tiny fraction of what is out there. We cannot see the microwaves that carry our phone calls. We cannot see ultraviolet light. Our reality is filtered through our biology and our culture. Today, our cave might be made of screens, modern shadows, social feeds, advertisements, familiar stories we mistake for the only story there is. How much can we see? The allegory of the cave is a story about the limits of our perception, a gentle reminder that what we call reality may be just a small slice of a larger whole. The prisoners were not foolish. They were working with the information they had, just as we all are. True wisdom begins with acknowledging that we might not have all the answers, with the humility to say, I might be wrong. The journey out of the cave is a metaphor for education, not memorizing facts, but learning to see the world in a new way. It is often uncomfortable and difficult, but the struggle is worth it. Outside the cave, the world is more beautiful, more real, more wonderful. We may never fully escape our caves, our biases, cultural filters, biological limits, but every step toward the light expands our world. Every new perspective we consider adds another dimension to our reality. The goal is not perfect knowledge, but to remain on the journey. Always curious, always questioning, always willing to have our minds changed. The story does not leave us with a simple answer. It leaves us with wonder. Maybe the question isn't, what is real?